All right, I'm Alex.
I'm Connie.
Welcome back to the Faria Files. The topic for today, a little controversial. I don't know what I would exactly title it.
Just hate speech.
Hate speech. I don't know though, because the whole point is does hate speech exist in the first place? Or is it just speech that
right.
can be hateful?
I guess we're just going to get super uncomfortable here.
Can't wait.
Okay. All right. Do you have like a particular... Okay. You want to just summarize what you mean when you say that right there. You don't think hate speech...
I think when you
is a
classify
thing?
things, the problem is when people start classifying things as hate speech, it implies, at least in the context of when hate speech is used, when hate speech is used in that way, it's in the context of some sort of legal ramifications or punishment, or we're banning certain words type of idea. Speech can be hateful however you do it. It's all about the context you do it in. But words in and of themselves aren't hateful, they're words, if that makes sense. But when you call something hate speech, why do you need to classify it as anything? You're not gaining anything by saying something is a specific type of speech or not, unless you're punishing someone for this arbitrary concept of what falls under hate speech.
Okay. So hate speech is used when they're just really mean and hateful words that can incite strong feelings.
Yeah, but that's all contextual.
So you don't think there's certain words that, regardless of how they're used in context, are hateful words?
No words are inherently hateful, necessarily, no.
They're mean. They're
they're
not
mean.
nice. They hurt feelings.
Sure, but they're not hateful. Because, like I said, when you classify something as hate speech, it's putting this concept of hate speech as a category under that things can fall under.
Which is how things are now. It's like a political term.
Well, exactly.
Right?
That's
Okay.
the problem. So when you categorize things like that, there ends up being weird ramifications for it. Not in the United States necessarily, and I say not yet, but in some countries like Britain and Canada, they've taken steps where you can literally be fined or punished for certain words you say.
No matter what the context is that they're said
Or
in.
the pronouns you use on someone if you misgender them, crazy shit like that, yeah.
Your glasses are driving me crazy. Seriously, it's like there's fingerprints all over them. How does that not drive you crazy? Anyhow, okay, so let's think of a word or think of a phrase that's considered a hate speech kind of phrase or word.
Okay.
Maybe without saying it. I don't know.
Do you want to jump straight to it or build
Well,
up?
I mean, no.
Because come on,
No. There's a lot of different. Okay, you can talk about women. You can talk about people of a certain race. You can talk about people of a certain sexual orientation. That's just a few.
Yeah.
And there are derogatory or
Exactly.
hateful or not nice words that can be used when you're talking about those different categories of people.
Sure.
Right? That would be what we'd be talking about.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so here's one random thing I always kind of wondered. So you've got the term cracker is like a slang or not nice or word for white people.
Sure.
But I feel like it's not at the same level of hate speech as, say, calling somebody who's Hispanic a wetback or a spick.
Wetback.
Or
Gringo.
a green, right? Using these derogatory terms.
Wetback. I've never.
Really?
What is that? The 80s?
I don't know. You never heard that one?
No.
Okay, I'm sure there's a lot of
I've
terms
heard it,
out
but,
there.
that's...
Okay, so but the point is, I always feel like the word cracker doesn't have the same derogatory hatefulness sounding to it that other derogatory words I hear for other cultures. And I don't know if it's just because white people are the majority, in America, for example, not in the whole world, but in America. And so, why do you think that is? Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly.
I would
know
care
exactly
less
what
if someone
you're
called
saying.
me a cracker.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Right?
Some words can be worse than others. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I still think when you classify things as hate speech, that's stupid and arbitrary.
So do you think that
But
there's
that-
certain words that just shouldn't? You think you should be allowed to use any words that you want whenever you want?
Yeah,
I
ideally,
mean, that's free speech, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
well, you just thanks, but like, ideally, yes, because when you look at words that are considered hateful or derogatory or things like that, that's, well, first of all, that's changed over time, like throughout history. It takes a while, like as much as hundreds of years, but some words in common lingo now weren't hundreds of years ago, or like that translation
No,
of
absolutely,
it,
I
that
agree.
were super mean or derogatory, and vice versa, right? Like, faggot was used to describe a bundle of sticks, and that was like a common lingo people would use back in when they used it.
So how the heck
But you
did that
can't-
go from meaning a
Well,
bundle of sticks to a derogatory term for homosexuals?
Well, exactly. I'm not sure. I'm not a linguistic
And
expert.
fag's a cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
In-
See what I mean?
in,
And that-
Europe.
That's just one example of one specific word. But I think ideally, anyone should be able to say whatever you want to say without legal ramifications. And I get if you work for a certain business or you do something that could reflect badly on them. I understand that's a gray line. That's a
But what if
weird
the
area
intent is
because-
just to be like mean to a group of people? What if
Well, you're-
somebody saw a group of homosexual people and used that word? What if people
That's-
saw a group of black people and used the N word when they were talking? They're
That's mean.
purposely
Yes, then-
being mean
then-
and trying to incite like a problem.
I don't think they're inciting violence. They're just being an asshole, or they're being racist, or they're being sexist.
They're being
But
racist.
like I
So you
said,
can be racist.
That's all
Racist people use hate
contextual.
speech, but if you're not, how can you use those words and have it not be racist if you're talking about, or
Context of a
homophobic or
joke,
whatever?
Context of a joke, context of
Okay, so you
messing
think
around
like,
with people.
like for
I also
comedians-
think so. I think actions speak much louder than words. I would
Okay.
personally, let's say you have two people, and this is an
Okay.
extreme situation, hypothetical. I understand this isn't really how the real world works, but just for the sake of argument,
Okay.
you have one person who, I hate to sound like stereotypical here, has tons of black friends, and let's say volunteers for the NAACP and is super progressive in terms of that.
Okay.
But he says the N-word a whole bunch, and it's a white dude, and you're like, what the hell? That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And then person B is... What was I trying to say with this? Hold on.
They're a Ku Klux Klan member.
Okay, yeah.
You're trying to find two extreme
Yes, no, exactly.
situations.
Exactly.
Okay.
This person says really nice things,
Oh.
right? That's what I'm
Okay.
saying, because person A does nice things, but says the N-word and he's white, and it's like, what the hell? You're an asshole. But he does all these great things. And then person B talks nice. He doesn't say the N-word. He doesn't swear or cuss, but he's a KKK member. He attends KKK meetings, and he does super racist things. Well, I take person A over person B, like, any day of the week. Because actions speak louder than words, and actions can actually hurt people, whereas words are, well, you can be mean, or things can be taken out of context, and that ruins lives. You see it all the time. But you're never going to do any significant damage with a word.
Do you think that's easier for you to sit and say as
No,
like a middle class white
no,
person?
I don't think it is. Not at all. I think it's stupid to make that argument with things. It's a word.
But don't you think if you're talking about the N word that a
Okay.
black person's gonna have a different attitude,
Yes.
or you're talking to
Yes.
a homosexual person that they're gonna have a different attitude about hateful speech that deals
Oh,
with
great. You own
gay
the word
people?
because it refers to you? Like, fuck off. I don't care. I don't care if it
Okay.
refers to you or if
I'm
it's
not
derogatory
saying-
to you.
I'm
You
not
don't
saying they
own words.
I'm not saying they own the
But
words.
that's how people act with it. Okay. I want to go back to the N-word, though, for a second.
Okay.
Because I've really been thinking about this.
Okay.
So, people don't like when people who aren't black use the N-word.
Some people don't like when black people use the N word.
That's true. You have a spectrum of things, right?
Totally.
So some people think it should be banned altogether. I think that's stupid. You don't ban words. I think the more you use a word, the more it becomes common vernacular, the less power it's going to have over time. And that's the only way.
theory.
In theory. Okay. So that's that. And then you have the majority, I believe, of black people or brown people or whatever skin color is the cutoff, or ethnicity is the cutoff for being able to
Okay.
to say it without people looking at you funny, I guess.
Okay.
Because, like, look at Logic. He's like a half white, half Mexican rapper, but he says the N-word. I'm darker than him. Like, not gonna lie. But
your
I
ethnicity is
digress.
not- okay.
I digress.
Okay.
So, yeah, these people saying the N-word,
Yes.
and you hit a certain point, whether it's ethnicity or skin color, whatever it is, where it becomes not okay to say it, right? So why is that? Well, you're going to say it's racist because it's has to do with slavery, and that's why it's racist, because it was a slave term. But it is so hard to prove that either any white person was a slave owner at any given time, or that any black person was a slave at any given time in history. On top of that, don't bitch and moan about slavery because A, it's gone. And I don't mean to say that black people or African Americans don't have it bad in some forms of systemic racism, because that does exist. Not as much as the media would like you to think.
Number one, slavery is not gone.
That's what I'm getting to.
Human trafficking and stuff all over the world.
There are more slaves that exist today than there were during the peak of the slave trade.
Just not traditionally the way people think about it.
And also, like, throughout history, people of all ethnicities have been slaves.
True.
And I get it that the common slave trade that you learn in American history happened more recently. But the idea that this word is racist because slave owners used it in a derogatory term, I get it. It was a bad thing back then. Slavery doesn't exist right now in America.
Yeah, it does. People are trafficked all the time.
You know what I mean.
White plantation owners don't necessarily have black slaves in that term of what you're talking about, right?
Look. There are black people alive who were never slaves in the first place.
Right.
And there are white people alive who were in America, right, who were never slave owners in the first place.
Right.
So it's racist. You can't say it's racist or it's not racist for me to use it because of my ancestry, because that's bullshit, because your ancestors didn't have anything to do with that word. Whether it's because you want to be able to use it or because you're not allowed to use it.
But don't you think it has to do with the... Okay, so you're trying to separate, is it the word that you're using or is it the way that you're using that word?
You can use it in a racist way, but
you can use anything in a racist way, right?
Exactly, but it's not racist for a black person to call another black person the N-word, in whatever context you're doing it, whether it seems joking or not. Because you look at, mainstream media or TV shows or movies where there's a conversation going on and they'll use it playfully, right? Mm-hmm. And if a white person would do that, it wouldn't be regarded as playfully. But why is that the case? Because it's seen as derogatory? Because do we still think this white dude in 2020 is referring to this black dude in 2020 as a slave? Subconsciously, that's what he's thinking when he says it?
I would like to think that's not the situation.
Exactly.
But I don't know if that's where it comes from. First, I think there's just certain words that make people really, really uncomfortable. And the N one is like a super big one.
Super big if you're white, but if you're not white, you can use it.
But I don't think that's necessarily true, because there's some people who feel that that no matter what your ethnicity or the color of your skin or your culture or whatever, that there's just certain words that are hateful words that shouldn't be used at all.
And the more you say that, the more you're going to have people using that and being able to piss other people off with it.
So it's more about, like, do words have power, not have power? Because you could talk about swear words. So you've, like, swear words.
That's swear word too. You should be able to say whatever you want.
You have hate speech words. But there's a lot of words that aren't allowed on television.
That's stupid. That's a television's choice, whatever.
And that would be swear words. But that's hate speechy words. Hate speech words.
You know
what I mean? I was poor English, but
there's some TV shows or movies that
would be considered hate speech.
Been fine with whatever kind of words. It really depends.
So, like, you take a look at something like the N-word, let's just say, and you talk about how it's okay for, in some circles, people might say it's okay for black people to say it, not okay for white people to say it. So let's take another word. Like, let's say if you take a homophobic, homosexual slur words that would be used for homosexuals. I get what you're saying. Okay, is it like the same thing? Do people say, if you're not gay, you can't use that word, but if you are gay, you can use those words?
Yeah, there are people that are like that.
Feel like that the same way? Or there's words that are racist, hateful words for Asians or for Hispanics. Yeah. And people say, if you're Asian, you can use those words, but if you're not Asian, then that's not a hate speech word. That's just like a weird... I don't know, like you call it something, like either it's okay to use a word or it's not okay to use a word, but I think I
think you can use any word you want.
No matter who you are.
No matter who you are.
Context. So you think when you take those things.
Okay, no, back it up.
Okay.
you can say it no matter what the context, but I don't want to come off like I'm advocating for people to just say these words.
Okay, good.
I'm not saying that it's necessarily okay to willy-nilly use these words whenever you want.
I love willy-nilly. I just like that expression.
Okay, weirdo.
It's a lot of good words. Okay, go on.
But
willy-nilly.
In the right context or in the confines of a friend group or whatever you want to call it, you can say whatever you want to say as long as the people around you are okay with what you're saying. If that makes sense.
But I think that's kind of how it is now. It's not like we're
kinda
at the point where you're going to get arrested for using a word.
No, we're not at that point yet, but there are people who get fired for using these words in certain situations.
Or look at the comedians who use certain words.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I get that when you are working a job and you sign a contract or whatever, there are certain things you have to adhere to. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's your personal life. If you weren't intentionally like hurting someone or trying to, like you say, incite violence with these words, that you're not inciting violence if you say these words, unless it's followed by let's go murder or kill or light a fire on or do something to X, whatever word that
let's go
that
light
would
a
be.
Fire on Bob. Who do you even say something like that?
I mean like a derogatory slur for like some sort of group of people, right?
Phrasing was weird.
Yeah, I know.
I understand what you're saying. Hey,
but
let's go beat so and so up.
Like,
yeah,
like anyone who's been in like a video game lobby, headset, chat, or whatever, people use terrible words all the time. And it's like
smack talking.
It's smack talk, but it gets to the point where you're like, dude, shut up. Like why are you even saying this anymore? But people get so offended by things nowadays. Like, it's crazy. I don't know.
Because you think that nobody should be offended by anything.
Not necessarily. You can get offended by something if someone's genuinely being racist or sexist or homophobic or anything like that.
So it's
but
okay
if someone
to
just
say,
uses, like I said, it's all about the context. But if someone uses the word to use the word or uses it in a joke or says something that maybe doesn't stick, and it's like it's clear it didn't stick, and they're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have used that word. My bad. I don't think it's like, let's condemn this person because they're a racist, vile bigot. No, they clearly know that whatever joke they tried to make or whatever they tried to say didn't quite stick. They weren't expecting it not to stick. Doesn't mean they're subconsciously racist or subconsciously sexist or something like that. That's a stupid assumption to make of people.
But you don't think people that just toss like homophobic, like gay slurs or slurs that are, about a specific race aren't subconsciously racist or homophobic?
Not necessarily.
They don't have issues with an entire race if they're freely just throwing around racist words?
No, people use those words because they know what it can invoke with people in the like I said, it's in the context, and they know that there's a certain power it gives themselves when they say it because of how bad it's perceived as being.
Just like with swear words.
Yes.
It's that
why,
same kind
why
of
does
idea.
anyone use swear words? And there's a
They
clear
have really poor vocabularies.
You could say
I'm
that.
kidding. I feel like I have a really good vocabulary and I swear all the time.
There's a clear,
because to me it's just a word.
And exactly, there's a clear progression of swear words. Like, you might hear an 11-year-old say damn, but you're not going to hear a 9-year-old say fuck shit. Like, you're going to be
there
like,
are some 9-year-olds.
I know,
not in my house.
I know. But you know what I mean? There's
definitely
a spectrum of
a progression of swear words. Just like I can watch TV now in 2020, and there are certain words said on TV that I wouldn't have heard watching in 1980 because the more that they've gotten used, they've become more mainstream, and it's taken away the power of that word.
People aren't offended as much by it anymore. It's just a word. It starts to lose its meaning. It starts to lose its power.
And I don't know if we'll ever get that. And I think with swear words, you might see that a little bit with things that lose that power where it's not, oh my God, they said shit. Yeah. But I don't know if it's ever going to be the same way when it comes to hate speech type words, when you're using gay slurs and racist slurs.
It might take a while.
Where it's ever
I get
just
that because
okay.
it's more specifically derogatory towards a group of people or a swear words.
Because I feel like it's gone the
Maybe
flip.
they're going to offend Mormons or something. Like, I don't know.
What's a Mormon? What's a
I'm just saying, I'm saying all these derogatory terms are going to offend people.
Oh, and I guess there's probably religious
and like
any
given
words.
swear word is not going to really offend a specific group of people. You know what I mean? Whereas an N-word or calling people a bundle of sticks or things like that are directed towards a group of people, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that maybe some words have gotten worse over time, less acceptable rather than becoming more acceptable. Like swear words, I think there's a lot of swear words that are starting to become, more mainstream and not as big a deal. And things I might hear like bitch on TV and not bat an eyelash, where you wouldn't hear something like that in the 80s. Okay.
Sure.
But there's certain swear words are words that have to do with racist type words. So I remember when I was in middle school, and there was this kid that was in my class, and his nickname was Dago. He was Italian, and that's like that's like a derogatory thing.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to care, and that was totally his nickname with everybody, and it was not a big deal. And we didn't live in like a place that had lots of Italians, like say a Little Italy in New York-y kind of a space. Maybe that would have been treated and people would have reacted to that differently there. I don't know.
Exactly. He embraced it, whether he knew it was
and maybe at 12, he didn't know it was that big a deal. I have no idea.
The fact that he embraced it, people roll with it, and then when you start saying it more and more, refer to that as his nickname. Or do you hate Italians now? No.
I am Italian.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
But I don't think at 12 or 11 or however old I was at the time, I even knew that was a derogatory word.
That's another thing. So racism and sexism and all these things are all 100% learned behaviors. You're not born hating.
No, absolutely.
A specific
and I agree
race
with you.
Right? And so that's where I think the whole actions speak louder than words thing come into play again. I think we also shouldn't be condemning people as harshly as we do when we do perceive them as racist or sexist or whatever, because I don't want to say it's not their fault, but it's not entirely their fault, because clearly they were raised in some way where they found it appropriate to say or do something in the way they did.
And I think it depends a lot of the history of what they have. Like, look at Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, and all those pictures came out when he was back in college and whatnot.
And Ralph Northam, the Virginia
governor, where he was in blackface,
or whoever it was,
and you had people who just wanted to condemn how racist that was. Look how racist he is. And then people just kind of forgot about it because he's a good-looking, nice guy, and somehow it just kind of went, by the wayside. I don't think that happens for everybody. I think it just kind of depends.
There's not at all equal treatment for anything.
No,
which is dumb.
No, it's like you have comedians who use the N-word, and then their whole career is in the freaking toilet. But I think it also depends on the context of how they're using. I do agree with that part. The context of how they're using the word. If somebody is using it regularly,
remember that movie, Black Klansman? That was a good movie.
Yeah.
And that dude from that 70s show, Eric from that, what's the actor's name? Blanking on it. He looks like a little boy.
I know, totally. He does. I know, he's a great actor. I know.
Plays fucking David Duke, drops N-word with the hard R multiple times in the movie.
Oh, that was part of but that was the character.
I know, but he still said the word.
In the character.
In the context, and that's the point I'm making.
That was like a little different.
That was
acting.
Well, okay, is it a little different or is it not? Because is a word? Clearly not, because the context, he was acting and he was playing his character.
Try to think of what the guy's name is. I just keep thinking Eric Foreman, and that's his character's name from that 70s show. It's going to come to me in the middle of the night. Yeah. Sorry. But he was saying the word, but he wasn't saying it. He was saying it as David Duke. I mean, he's saying it because he's acting in a...
Okay, Siri.
That was weird. He's acting in a part. Like, to me, that's a very specific kind of context for it.
A white man still said the word. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's the context. I don't think he's racist, obviously. If you're going to have a movie like that, you're probably not going to want to cast a genuine KKK member. That would be shitty on your part. That would look really bad as a director.
Yes, I feel like that might be a little much.
You're going to cast an actual actor. You're like, are you okay with, playing this character that says these words? And they're like, yeah, sure, I get it, because it's the context, and that's what the character would do in the movie, and that's how it works. So, and I'm not saying we should not give someone like that in that situation a free pass, because we should. It was a movie. It was that. But I think that carries over to the context, whether it's a joke or whether they're with a certain group of people that are okay with whatever language they like to use or whatnot. At the end of the day, it's just going to be a word. And if you're not intentionally being hateful with it, I'm not going to assume that you're subconsciously...
So take a look at, like, words that could be considered sexist. I don't know. What's somebody could use the word bitch and have it not be a sexist, be sexist
Karen.
in a term
Karen's
that
a
they're
big
using.
word right now. People are not people. Weird white soccer moms, multi-level marketing, Sharon Karens are super pissed at the word.
I'm a white soccer mom.
I know, you almost fit the description
See, okay.
to a T. But you're not.
What the
You
hell?
don't act like a Karen, and it's hard to explain what
What
that
about
would be
people
like.
who are Karens? Like literally, like that's their names.
Well, I mean, that's kind of unfortunate. It's funny.
And where does that even come from?
It's a meme. It's
No, I know
hard.
it is, but like, why Karen?
Where
Why isn't it like?
where does anything
Why isn't it
come
like
from?
Jane?
Oh shit! I actually know this. It was some dude on Reddit who was bitching about. God, I don't remember. I just read the story the
like
other
a
day.
neighbor or something like that.
Yeah, but I don't remember if he used their actual name or not. It might have been a coworker. I don't know if he used their actual name or not, but it ended up being Karen. And then it was like it became so popular that they had a whole subreddit dedicated. It was like r/Karens.
Okay.
And that whole persona.
A lot of stuff comes out of
was
Reddit. I mean,
4chan, Reddit, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depths of the internet.
But Karen's not it's not hate speech to call somebody a Karen.
No.
And it's not racist to call somebody a
Or
Karen.
sexist. Yeah,
it's
I get it.
namist. Like, no, I mean, like, what is it that
It's
you're doing?
offensive.
It's offensive.
That's what people are going to say.
If
At the end of the
somebody
day, any
knows
of these
what it
words are going to be
means,
offensive.
It's offensive. But no, like, so I was saying, like, the word bitch.
Sure.
You'd be like, oh my God, stop being such a bitch. Or look, obviously you're not saying it meaning
Stop being
female
such a
dog.
C word. That's
You
a big
just-
one, too,
oh,
if you want to
yeah, that's probably even worse.
That is definitely worse.
But when it comes to being sexist, you could have somebody throw away, like, stop bitching and moaning is a little different because you're not using it. You're using it as a verb as opposed to as a noun. But stop acting like a bitch. And that could be a sexist way if you had a male constantly using that term. Right?
Damn, I don't know. I think if someone's a bitch, you call on a bitch. I could call guy people, stop acting like a little bitch.
But are you saying stop acting like a little bitch because he's acting like a little girl? Do you see what I'm saying? Like what?
But I think, yes, that's exactly the point, and I don't think that's
So
sexist.
is that like a
I don't think that's
sexist
sexist
word to
because
use it
if I'm
that way?
calling one of my 19-year-old guy friends a little bitch, I'm implying that he's being very effeminate about something, and that's very unlike his character. You shouldn't be acting like a little 8-year-old girl when faced with this situation. Suck it up, buttercup. I don't think it's sexist.
Okay. What
I
about
mean-
like calling somebody a sissy?
I don't know. I don't really
That's not really a hate speech word.
I don't
It's
really
just
say
like
that word either, but I mean, yeah.
So maybe it's like a generational thing.
Well, that's part
you
of
would
it,
have
yeah.
okay. So you would have somebody say in the maybe 60s, 70s, like let's say you have
Ninkin
big,
poop.
strong dad kind of guy, and he has an effeminate son. Okay,
Sure.
and he could be constantly calling him stop acting like a little sissy, meaning
Yeah.
that he's acting
Gay.
like maybe he's gay.
Yeah.
Right, but so it's like that was a term that,
Sure,
but I don't
I get
know
it.
if it necessarily gets used that way
No.
now
You'd say
per se, right?
like pussy, like that's a word.
Ugh. What?
It's so funny. That was a weird reaction. I debated in my head whether or not I say the P word or say it, but I mean now that people know what we're talking about, I've established the context of it enough. But like that's another word people would use that
That's one you probably wouldn't hear on TV, I think, at this point.
depends on the show or the network, but
Okay, on like I'm not talking cable
mainstream.
TV, everything.
No, I get
but
it. Yeah.
Yeah. NBC or something
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, that's still a word that's probably not one that's going to come out of my mouth.
No, I get it.
But I'm not a 19-year-old boy. So
Yeah, I've said every word in the book, so like.
Do you find that that's one that you throw around? But it's not like a hate speech word.
Yeah.
That's just a word,
No,
right?
you definitely throw it around, kind of in the context that you call someone a little bitch, like pussy, just do it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't like that on you. Whatever that whole thing was right
I
there.
don't know. It's you know what I mean. Maybe you don't, but
But it is what it is. That's kind of how it is for you. But you have to know the context of how you use it. You're
Exactly,
Not gonna,
that's what
you're
I'm
not going
saying.
to call your grandmother that,
well, no, exactly.
right? So,
And, like, I don't think I subconsciously am misogynistic.
good to know.
I'm just saying.
Consciously,
and
I don't think you are,
Well, yeah, and I
but-
guess you wouldn't know subconsciously what you are.
Right.
But I don't think anything I've actually done towards people would be perceived as, oh, he hates women. Like, no, I don't use that word because subconsciously I don't like woman. It's just
Do you
a
use
word
words
I
that would be
use.
considered racist or words that would be considered hate speech?
I've used every word in the book. Like 100%.
Do you think you're a hateful person? Do you think if you were a hateful person, you'd admit it? Do you think you'd know if you were?
No, but that's why you have people around you to go like, oh no, he's not actually a racist person. Why are you saying that? No, he's not a sexist person. I don't think I've ever heard anyone, unless they're super offended by things, call me anything. Even then, I can't recall anyone specifically calling me out on something. If they did, I would apologize and be like, hey, sorry you felt that way. Like, I didn't mean to offend, like, whatever.
But I think it...
There's this one time, it's really funny.
Oh, am I going to think it's funny? I don't know.
I was at the Underground, that like weird club. I've been there like twice. It's like, meh, I'm not a big party person. Also, I do want to wrap this up because I wanted to go get tacos. So,
oh, Dad's making burgers.
Don't worry about it. So this is something.
So I get it. Tacos.
Taco Tuesday. Anyways.
Okay. All right, go on.
I'm at the Underground. I'm with a buddy of mine. I won't say his name.
Good.
And I was talking to just him or another person we had met there. And I was blah, blah, blah.
Does the nationality matter on what you're talking about?
This is like a sexist term thing.
Okay.
Oh, God, no. I wouldn't, like, say something like...
racist sounding in public.
In public or around like groups of people that are that big. But this word, I was like, nah, I'm going to say this. Like, it's how it is. So I was talking about he had just gotten broken up with after a pretty long relationship with his girlfriend.
Okay.
And the way it had been done was objectively, from my point of view, like super shitty on her part.
Did she text him a breakup?
No, I don't want to get into the story.
Oh, okay.
But the point is, knowing what I knew, I was like, wow, this is like a super shitty thing to do. Like, why the hell would you do it? Not even why would you break up, but like, why would you do it in this way? And why would you say these kinds of things? And why would you, do it like this?
Okay.
So I'm talking to these people about it. And
I thought you were just there with one. No, are you talking to other friends?
I'm talking to other people I just met there. I don't know.
Okay.
Just group, like another.
Okay. Not people you knew already.
Couple people, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And my buddy's next to me. I'm talking.
Okay.
And I'm talking about blah, blah, blah. And I'm just talking. Words are coming out of my mouth. And I go, yeah. And like, she was just a total C about it all. Right? And these people just kind of like they get it. And this girl like looks at me from the side, like looks at me funny. I'm like, hey, like, I'm not going to apologize for that. Like, you don't know the situation I'm talking about, but like, this woman was being a complete that. Like, that's just how it was from my point of view. Like, there are certain instances where someone does something so terribly bad that word just kind of fits.
But how is that word any stronger than like, she was just such a bitch about it? Like, why
Are you going to say it? Are you going to say the C word right now? I didn't think so. That's what I mean.
Exactly.
That's
just not a word I use.
Exactly.
But then
there was more oomph to it. It was really driving the point home.
It was like a super bitch.
Pretty much.
So just say super bitch.
Super bitch. She was a super bitch.
Oh, but like, why are your voice cutting up so high? Like, why do you have to go as far as using the C word? Because you know that's just...
Because it drives the point home. And that was the point I was making, and it was received.
Would you have called her that to her face?
No, because it's not like I knew her very well.
Okay, you don't know her very well, but you're calling her that?
I wouldn't say I knew her I knew her. We weren't best friends or anything. I'd hung out with them in groups before, but I knew all of the stuff that had happened.
Okay, what's like an alternative word for that? Okay, because I'm not going to say that word right now. So, like, let's say I know the C word you're talking about, obviously.
Crazy.
Okay, fine. So let's say it was crazy. So you can call, but that doesn't work because it's not a word. That's only an adjective. I was trying to find a word that you could use as a noun and you could turn into an adjective. All right, let's say the word is cat.
Sure.
Okay, we know that's not what it is. And instead of calling her a cat, you could have said that was a pretty catty thing for her to do.
Sure, I could have, yeah.
Do you see the difference? Like somehow that softens it and makes it a little bit more acceptable to say, like, that's a bitchy thing for her to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying she's a full-on bitch.
Yeah. And like I said, it was a context of it all, but I was referring to, in that specific situation and the way things were handled, she was a massive that. Not always all the time as a person she's this, but in that situation,
moment she was.
With what she was doing.
So do you think by using that word that you had a circle of people who did not know you, were just meeting you for the first time, that instantaneously judged you based on the words coming out of your
mouth? It wasn't like
mouth?
a circle of people. It was like a couple people I was talking to.
Fine. The 2 people, the 5 people, that's not even the point. Do you think these people that don't know you judged you very quickly based on the words coming out of your mouth?
That's human nature. That's how it works. But I don't really give a shit if they judge me. I know who I am as a person. I know the friends I have.
Okay.
And I know that I'm not going to see these people again 99%. Couldn't remember their faces, couldn't remember anything about them right now for the life of me. I just remember that situation.
So you said that there's words that you use, that you've used just about any word, because a word is a word.
I have used every single word in the book.
Okay. And you use them when you know the circle of the people that are around you, but you know enough not to use certain words around your grandparents around around the public, or to say them, or to type them in like social media.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
Besides like your spam accounts.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But where that's a smaller circle.
No, yeah, exactly. Context. That's what I'm saying. I'd also never incite anything with it.
But how do you know you're not? Like, let's say you're in public and you turn to like your group of friends and you're like, "Hey, my ends, what's up?" Do you talk like that?
I do that all the time.
But would you? You do?
No. with all of my black friends, I've
no. Your white friends?
No. Why would I?
I don't know.
I know. I plead the fifth.
I'm just saying people throw the word around.
Anyways,
this is my
what
point.
Are you saying?
Like, would you could turn and say that to your group of friends, no matter what their races are, white,
say
black,
it to my friends,
green or yellow. Yes. You say it to your group of friends, and a group of people who are offended by that word, whatever color they may be, okay?
Red.
Fine. So you say it to your group of rainbow friends, and another group of rainbow people overhear it. And
is that derogatory towards gay people now? Huh? I'm kidding. Go on.
Jesus.
So anyways, they're offended.
And they're like super offended that they think that you're using hate speech. But for you, you're like, it's in context. These people don't care, but those people over there cared.
But what are they going to do? If they do anything to me, they're the ones that committed a crime.
You don't think that they could feel...
Boo-hoo, you're offended. Some random stranger broke your heart because you said a word you don't like and you don't know who they are at all.
So you think it's okay to just use... No, you don't. But you know that it's not okay to use certain words in public because you just...
Around certain people because of the context. I wouldn't go to Times Square and get a megaphone and shout every word in the book.
Good to know.
I don't intentionally try to piss people off necessarily, but if someone were to overhear something or...
But why even have these words come out of your mouth?
Because I can. Why not?
I wonder if you'll feel the same way when you're older.
I don't think I won't. I will. Why did I do a no?
A double
whatever.
Negative?
Yeah.
Because maybe you were gonna say, "I don't think I'll stop," or "I don't,"
Yeah, I don't think I'll stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. Do you think it's racist or hate speech to use other things? Okay, like for the example, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about a project they were doing as a home project, and they said we were talking about the cost of things, and he said, this costs that costs that, but I totally Jewed him down on that price. Okay,
that's funny.
It wasn't. The point is that like a hate speech thing. Is that derogatory?
No.
Because to me, I took it as he's using it in a way. People stereotypically might talk about Jewish people being
frugal,
good with their money, and being frugal, which to me is a good thing.
It's a stereotype, but stereotypes are all based in truth. Like it's facts. Like you look at I don't want to break down the numbers, but it's true.
It comes from somewhere. Or if you think of Jewish people, and you might think a lot of them are like that. So
billionaires.
So, but the point is, I'm like, so that's a phrase that it's not. That wouldn't be called racist. That would be called religious,
anti-Semitic,
I guess, in that specific case.
Yeah.
So, but it's like a positive. What to me, that's not mean
weird.
To say that you're talking about somebody is saving money, but yet that's considered derogatory because
people are offended.
But how is it considered? It's anti-Semitic because
you shouldn't say that because you're not Jewish, maybe, which is stupid because then it gets into the whole. Why should some people be allowed to say something when others can't? It's a word.
Yeah.
But I want to get tacos. I don't want this to be too long. But yeah.
I know. I guess it's a hard thing because there's no agreement on a lot of stuff. You could sit and say a lot of words.
No, but
know your audience.
Yeah, exactly. Know your audience. But like, I don't envision the United States banning a specific word. I mean, I hope not. But, I mean, shit will really start hitting the fan if that starts happening. If we get into, like, 1984-esque type bullshit, things will go south very quickly.
People will rise up. I mean, people don't like...
I will rise up.
You will
Bitch,
rise up?
I'm not going to let them censor my speech.
I guess I can understand where you're coming from with that. I mean, I'm not going to go around using some of those words, but...
I don't go around, like, willy-nilly using these words, but...
Love it. Okay. All right, we're going to go. I'm hungry.
I know.
You
Getting
got to get
tacos.
tacos. I'm going to go get a burger.
All
right.
I gotta worry about that.